would show his dominance, although Hakkar did manage to throw 419 punches, or at least he put his hands out there 419 times and was credited by CompuBox with punches for those efforts. It's kind of a loose usage of the word. Meanwhile, Hopkins landing 200 of his 399 power punches, but never quite enough to put Hakkar away for good. Although in the 7th round, Hakkar seemed to be inviting referee Frank Cappuccino to stop it, and Cappuccino was resistant to the invitation. Let's go to Larry Merchant with the winner.
All right, guys, we're waiting for Bernard Hopkins to officially be declared the winner, but in the meantime, I don't know whether we need that official conclusion to this fight.
Follow the rules. Come on.
Bernard.
Come on. And the winner is?
And the winner is different. Bernard don't make no difference.
All right.
He ain't a winner.
Bernard, aren't you embarrassed by this? A great fighter having to fight.
A mandatory that's by the rules. I have to fight because they would do like Roy Jones didn't want him to do before he fought John Ruiz.
Don't tell me about anybody else.
If I didn't fight, Larry, stop being ignorant. If I didn't fight and defend my mandatory with the WBC, they would have stripped me. And I don't care what you say or anybody else say. This is my life. It's my prerogative. You do your job, I do mine.
You think anybody wants to see this kind of fight again?
Well, it don't matter if they want to see it again.
Well, how do you get paid if nobody wants to see it?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not leaving out here without a check tonight. So let me tell you something. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what kind of degree you got, but I got paid tonight.
But I can assure you it won't happen again.
Well, I'll tell you what, Larry. Unless you got powers other than being a commentator, then that's a part of the business and part of the problem. So since you exposed that to the world, let's move on to other issues. I want to fight the junior middleweight champions, the so-called the best. Hold up.
Isn't it embarrassing for the middleweight champion of the world to be calling out junior middleweight champions?
Well, junior middleweights is only 5 to 6 pounds away from middleweights. I mean, junior middleweights always been middleweights. Come on now, Larry. 15 years ago, they didn't have junior weight classes in boxing. It was welterweight, middleweight. Come on now.
Right.
Isn't it embarrassing when other fighters call each other out in different weight classes? So why is this so different? Because it's Bernard Hopkins?
Yeah.
Are you part of the system or are you with the system?
Winky Wright has stated he wants to call you. Do you want to fight Winky Wright?
Well, is Winky Wright paying me or who's buying the fight? It depends on what the licensing fee is. It depends on what my share is. I don't fight just to be fighting. I did enough of that on Philadelphia streets in Philadelphia for free. So yes, I will fight anybody, but the fight is no problem. You got to make the fight. The dollars got to make sense, and we can move on. And you can see better fights, Larry. I don't have an attitude. I just want to get paid for my labor like any other working class citizen in America.
Well, it looks like tonight you got paid for doing not much.
Well, let me tell you something, Larry. You get paid every day on the TV for not doing much.
Wow. All right, George, let's take it at face value here, okay? He's calling out junior middleweights. He wants to fight Oscar De La Hoya or Vernon Forrest or Shane Mosley. He's named all those guys. Now, on the surface, you might say, well, Bernard's a 160-pound fighter. He's taller and stronger on paper than those guys. But he's not a big enough puncher that he ought to be totally intimidating to them, right?
When you've had a night like tonight, Hopkins, this was a terrible night for all involved. You got to do something like talk a lot, create some controversy, because there was nothing in the fights at all.